Guten. We are welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're learning today Zorin of Kubeis. We're going to start. I don't know exactly where you got last night, but I'm going to start Kufal from the base a few lines up. Just to start the Sugi with Moshe Rabbeinu. The Gemara says 3 lines before the wide lines. Kuf Aleph Amud Beis, 3 lines before the wide lines. Yeah, I'll just go back into it. The Gemara, that's the Sugi starts there. Moshe Rabbeinu Kohen Gadol v'choylek v'kodesh kadoshim hoya. He says Moshe Rabbeinu was a Kohen. Not Stam he was a Kohen. He was choylek v'kodeshim, as any other Kohen. Meaning Moshe Rabbeinu has a din of a regular Kohen. He's a regular Kohen. Shenemar mi'elim miluyim leMoshe hoya lemana. It says Moshe Rabbeinu had elim miluyim. Elim miluyim is the he got a piece. Right, he got a piece. He was a Kohen. We just saw on previous sugya. The Gemara said why Aaron and Kohen and his kids had nobody. He had to get rid of the kachim. Those Pinchas, give the kachim to Pinchas. That was yesterday's daf. Why does he ask about Moshe Rabbeinu? Moshe Rabbeinu is also a Kohen, and he's not an Oinen because he's only an uncle. Right, the ones that died were his nephews. So what did Moshe the Torah b'Shechina? So this is Gemara. Moshe Rabbeinu is busy with Shechina. Now this, what's exactly the right? It's not so clear. The Deer speaks about Moshe Rabbeinu going in Har Sinai. They went up early in the morning and came down back in the next morning. But the raya is the Moshe Rabbeinu is busy. He's busy with the Shechina. He's busy with. So it says Yochel. So it says that goes to the Kohen. The Kohen has Kodesh Kadoshim, Kodesh Yerechel. Im Nemu Kodesh Kadoshim, Lamin Nemu Kodesh Kalim. It says Kodesh Kadoshim, and it says Kodesh Stam. He eats both. Im Nemu Kodesh Kalim, Lamin Nemu Kodesh Kadoshim. Why have to say both? It says Mo'ilu Lo Nehemar Kodesh Kalim, Yisrael Kodesh Kadoshim Udo Oichel, Sheyer Hutro Lazar V'Lehem. Kodesh Kadoshim, we find a zar that can't eat it. The Gemara is going to say who? The Gemara is going to say Moshe Rabbeinu. Kodesh Kalim lo yochel. V'hilu lo nemu Kodesh Kadoshim, you make Kodesh Kalim yochel, Shem Kalim. Kodesh Kadoshim lo yochel, we can't eat Kodesh Kadoshim. Kach nema Kodesh Kadoshim, kach nema Kodesh Kalim. It says over here that the Kohen can eat both Kodesh Kadoshim and Kodesh Kalim, because each one has a chiddush. If you say Kodesh Kalim, maybe Kodesh Kadoshim you can't eat. Say Kodesh Kadoshim because we find that a zar can eat. It says the Gemara, who is the zar? Who is the stranger that is allowed to eat Kodesh Kadoshim? Says the Gemara, La Moshe. So you see, Moshe Rabbeinu is not a Kohen because we say he's a zar. Omav sheishes loy beBomo l'zar. Talk about Bomo. But Bomo, that in which of Bomo, as we'll see later in the Masechta. We'll get there soon. Almost finishing the Masechta based Hashem in less than 3 weeks. But the Gemara is going to tell us soon. The Gabe Bomas Yochid, the ones who did the Avodah are who? The ones who did the Avodah. You can't find a hiding place that you put the Gemaras. So the ones who did the Avodah are Yisraelim. And by Yisraelim, they get a piece of the Kodesh Kadoshim like a Kohen does it. So they get the piece. So you say that as Rashi goes on a little bit, Arichos here in Rashi, told exactly the scenario, but the idea is that in Bomas Yochid, the ones who eat are the ones who do the Avodah. And who's the ones who do the Avodah in Bomas Yochid? Yisrael. So I have a zar eating. Rashi goes into the cheshbon. There's nothing else that he eats because there's no chaz of a shoik, babama. And the chaz of a shoik is the piece that goes to the ground. You don't have that. So the only thing we talk about is mincha. Okay, so that was another raya. Gemara is doichen. Zar over there is not Moshe Rabbeinu. Macy, question number 3. Miriam is Giro. Who put Miriam into Hezger? Miriam was a Matzuras. Who put into Hezger? If Torah Moshe is Giro, Moshe is Zaru. If it's Moshe, Moshe is Zar. Continues the Gemara Daf Kubeis Amud Aleph. Ve'ein Zar Resel Goyim. Ve'im Toimar Aaron is Giro. Maybe it was Aaron a Kohen. Aaron Koru Ve'ein Koru Resel Goyim. He's a relative. Now the Gemara could have asked if Moshe Rabbeinu is also a relative. Moshe could have Pashup Shat. You're right. Right. You could have asked that Moshe Rabbeinu is a relative. But the Gemara did not ask because Moshe Rabbeinu is a relative, because we had a different question. Moshe Rabbeinu is a Zar. Aaron the Kohen is not a Zar, but he's a relative. Moshe Rabbeinu also is a relative. But here there's a very famous word, like G'dola Achronim give us, tell us, that if one of them says in one way, the other one says the other way. The pshat is, we know that Am Yisrael, they were, when Am Yisrael and Har Sinai, they were Gershon is Gag, Kodesh and Oil.
There's no craving.
So there's no craving. So why is Aaron a Korev? Why is Aaron a Korev? So that they have a cheshbon that maybe the ones that were under the mountain, they all, when they cut back to become craving. But Moshe Rabbeinu was not under the mountain. The only reason that we say that Am Yisrael had a craving, that's based on the Maharal, the famous Maharal, the Shmaitzer brings in Hagdama, is because Kofal and Marakagis. The Kishbol forced it to get the Torah. So that's why it's not considered to be a full Gerus. So Gershon is Gayer, but that's a Gerus which was done willingly. If you were forced or not. Am Yisrael were forced, so therefore they considered to be craving. But there was one person who was not forced. Everybody was forced because they were on the mountain. There was one person not forced. Who's that? Moshe Rabbeinu is on top of the mountain. So Moshe Rabbeinu had a full Gerus. So Moshe Rabbeinu is not a curve. That's the Vart. That's what it didn't say Moshe Rabbeinu is a curve. It says the Gemara, L'kavod gadol chalak l'Kodesh Baruch Hu l'Miriam Moshe Shah. Kodesh Baruch Hu was the one who did the covenant to Miriam. Ani kohen to the Kodesh Baruch Hu. V'ani mazkiro, ani cholto, v'ani pachu. I'm going to do the whole process. I'll put him to Hezger, put him to Chalita, which is making more mitzvah ani pachu. So that's the Bryce. Ketanim he has Moshe Zar, Vein Zar, it says Moshe Rabbeinu is a Zar. So you see, Moshe Rabbeinu is not a kohen. Omar Menachos Yitzchok Shani Maris Negoyim the Aaron Uvolov Tuma Pasha. No, Moshe Rabbeinu is a kohen, but to see Negoyim, it's only Aaron a kohen. Meaning, if Moshe Rabbeinu is also a kohen, but for Tzaras, you have to be a specific segment of kohen. There's 5 things that Elisheva, the wife of Aaron the Kohen, had more than anybody else. According to what Rashi says that day, and there's another Girsa over here adds ve'evel echad. That same day she also won a veils. What is it? Yavama. Who's the Yavama? Who's the Yavam of Elisheva? Moshe. Because Yavama here really means brother-in-law. Yavama means the brother of the husband. Now, she had kids. She didn't need a Yibum. But a potential Yavam, which means her brother-in-law is Moshe Rabbeinu. So Yavama Melech, he's the king. Isha Kohen Gadol. Her husband, Aaron Kohen, is Kohen Gadol. But no, her son is Zgan. He was the secondary. He was the second in command. It's Eliezer. Ben Bno, her grandson, who's Pinchas, he was the one who had to work. V'achio, and her brother, Nasi Shevet. He was the Nasi Shevet. Who's that? Nachshon. Nachshon Ramidov is the brother of Elisha.
She was well connected.
Oh, V'avelo Shnei you can say. She was well connected. She had 2 children that died that day. It's not all rosy. Everyone has his own challenges. It says that her brother-in-law was the king. Who's that? Moshe Rabbeinu. Mashwa is a melech, melech in kohen gadol. He's only a king, not a kohen. Ein la'av melech. He was both. Ketanoi. Vayichav Hashem b'Moshe. It says the Kodesh Baruch Hu was angry at Moshe Rabbeinu in the sneh. Moshe Rabbeinu did not want to go and take out Am Yisrael from Mitzrayim. Rabbi Shua ben Kocho Imer. Kol chornav shebatoyer ne'abay baroishem. V'zeh lo ne'amay baroishem. Every anger in the Torah, there is some kind of a effect to the anger. Here, no. Here, nothing happened. That's how Rabbi Shua Kocho says. Shema Yecho Imer avzeh ne'amay baroishem. Shema lo aroi nachicho al-Levi. It says there, Aaron, your brother, the Levi, he's going to come to greet you. Or he's going to be Neviach, he's going to be the one who's going to speak in our behalf. Why is he calling a Levi? Pashup Shat comes from Shevet Levi. Said Kodesh Baruch Hu, I was planning for him to be you to be the Kohen, and I would just be a regular Levi. Akshavu Kohen about the Levi. Now you lost out. He was supposed to be the Levi and you're the Kohen. Because you refused to go and become a shliach to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, so you are the Levi, not the Kohen.
Just going back, the Isser or not to marry out of Yeshiva, for a woman to marry Yeshiva, that was after Matan Torah, B'chara.
Yeah, that's only one generation. We went there to Israel.
No, it was before. That was only Matan Torah B'Shvat.
No, not again. That was only when they went there to Israel for the first generation. They went there to Israel. Yeah, that's only. So the first mandama tells you there wasn't a Kohen. He lost it out. Right? He says he wasn't a Kohen at all. Other mandama says he was a Kohen only for the 7 days of Miluim. Only then. Why then? Because until the Shekhinah came down to the world. The third sheet that says he was a Kohen fully. But his children were not Kohanim. Shemar Moshe Ish Elokim Bonov Yikoru Al Shevet Levi. His children are Levim, not him. Moshe v'Aaron b'Choyanov. It says the Moshe v'Aaron is the Kohanim. Shmuel v'Korei Shemoy. So what do you see in the pasuk? It's called Moshe is a Kohen. My Boimer. Maybe why do you need a second pasuk? I already told you. It says in the pasuk his children were Levim. Actually, he was not a Levi. It says maybe not. Maybe it means then we're talking about the next generation. So we're counting the kids. It says the kids of Moshe Rabbeinu were Levim. I'm not talking about the previous generation. Maybe Moshe Rabbeinu was also Levi. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu says he was a Kohen. Okay. So the Gemara brings you, it's really Mechilek Tanai, 3 sheet. This was Moshe Rabbeinu. Was he a Kohen? Full Kohen? Was he a Kohen only for 7 days? Or he was not a Kohen at all? Says the Gemara, does it say Charanaf? Whenever there's a Charanaf, it says Charanaf, there's some kind of residue, some kind of a effect. It says the Moshe Rabbeinu left Paroi, and there was anger over there. Where was the Rishim? I mean, the Rishim was not only by Kodesh Baruch Hu. Oh, every time. Amalei, he didn't say a word to him. There was that. You know what's the Rishim? Moshe Rabbeinu smacked Paro in his face. That was the Rishim. How did Shlokish say anything? Shlokish said that when Akshbol told Moshe Rabbeinu to go speak to Paro, he says, "V'nitzavto olav asfas eor." V'omer Shlokish melechu v'asbir lo ponim. Nitzavto means lo shel kavod. You have to be mechabed him. He's a king. A king you have to treat with respect. It says no. It says nitzavto lo shenitzov imolov by dosav avir. Could be chutzpah. Says the Gemara, you're right. Epoch. Turn it around and say that Rish Lakish is the one who said be chatzuf. That's why he said he hit him in his face. And Riach is the one who says you have to give respect. And the Gemara goes on through this idea. I mean, like the sheet that says you have to respect the king. The Ichtiv, when Moshe Rabbeinu tells Paroi, there will be you're going to come, ask me to leave. It says, it doesn't say in Paroi. It says, all your slaves will come down to me. It didn't say, you're going to come down to me. Look around. So you see, he treated him with respect. Another bio. So over there that Achov met Achov regarding the rain. The king cannot go alone. He needs to have people running in front of him. There was nobody there. So Leo and Novi ran in front of Achov. Gave him cover, even though Achov was a Russian. For a king, you give cover. Omar Ulo, Bikesh Moshe Malchus v'lo yinos v'lo. Moshe Rabbeinu wanted to be king, didn't give it to him. Chtiv al tikrav haloim, don't come close to here. And haloim ela Malchus. Haloim is the Loshe of Malchus. Shenemar mi anoich Hashem Elokim kivitani ad haloim. That's what David Melech says. So it says Moshe Rabbeinu was not a king. Meisi Mirov Rabbi Shmuel, we just said before, Yavam Melech. We said the brother-in-law of Elisheva was a king, so he was a king. No, he was a king, but it was only one generation. His children were not kings anymore. So that is not a full king. If this Elohim means for generations, Fakabi shol dichtiv avo ad haloim ishu es haloim ish. It says haloim. Who in zar haloim? It says it's only him, not his kids. There's a question. It says haloim. No, he was a king. Ishboishes, the son of Shaul, was still king. So he did have generations, even though not for many generations, but it's considered to be Malchus with a child. Meaning, if the pshat is Shaul was supposed, that's what she says. Rashi says it clearly. Shaul was supposed to be king forever, but it was taken away from him. Look at what Rashi says. Shani Shaul afil gavil kamo mi oloi Malchus olam misu. כשפסקולוי לשאול מלכוס אוילומיס פסקולוי. אבל גורם לעצור שנתנות למנו, and this has to work with Baalei Machshav. It's brought down, the show was not never supposed to be king, it's for the Melech and others, Malchus based David, so you have to understand what does it mean he was supposed to be Melech forever. כדאבלוזו מאבחנים לו בשעה שפויסקים גדולו לאדום, פויסקים לוי ולזרוי עד סוף כל הדורס. When I give גדולו to somebody, that's for him for all generations. Shema lo yigar tzadik enof v'imalochim lakise. And it says over there, v'yishivim lanetzach. It says lanetzach forever. V'yimegiz daito, he becomes a Baal Gaiva, k'shbochim hashpil, puts him down. Shneimim v'asurim v'zikim yilochtum mechavle oini. So over here, the asurim v'zikim is referring to Gaiva, and there you say, so then in other words, when they become Baal Gaiva, they become attached in chains, and they lose everything. So also Shaul, even though he was a tzaddik, but regarding the fact he was supposed to be a melech forever, and he lost it, Moshe Rabbeinu was king only for one generation to begin with. He didn't have a loy. Okay, that was that got a little bit on the status of Moshe Rabbeinu. All Baalei Mumin, they're able to be choylek b'kotchim. Similarly, not even the Torah about Kol Zocher L'Rabbis Baalei Mumin. Yep, you had Baalei Mumin. Lemay, what are we talking about? Ilachiluk for Ne'emar Lechil Meloiko Mikotcha Kadoshim Reichel. It tells already he eats by Baalei Mumin. Elechiluko, he can take a piece. That's what you see from the word that says Kol Zocher. Rashi points out it says Kol Zocher 3 times in the Psukim. So you dash in 3 of them. The first one is what we just said. The second one is Tani Idol Kol Zocher L'Rabbis Baalei Mumin. Lemay. Ilachiluk for Ne'emar. It says he can eat. We just said, only someone became Baalei Mumin later in life. But Baalei Mumin Mikari was born a Baalei Mumin Minayin. Kol Zocher. This Kol Zocher to tell you that any Baalei Mumin has it. Tanya Idol Kol Zocher L'Rabbis Baalei Mumin. Lemay, what are we talking about? We said, so we already learned all that. So okay, if you have a Baalei Mumin, which is a permanent Baalei Mumin, so then he eats. But if he has a temporary Mumin, so maybe he doesn't eat. Talmud Lemon Kol Zocher a 3rd time. So we're asked the obvious question. We were saying, if it's a Mumin Kavua, so maybe then he eats. But Mumin Oiver, he doesn't eat. So more Klapilaya, where's that turning to? I mean, it makes the opposite sense. Amav Shejas Epoch, turn around. You're right? Mistake? Meaning, Mumin Kavua, I would think only Mum Oiver. I would think with Avkubeis and Ubeis, Ki Tome, Ma Tome, Kamanduloy Tor, Loy Ochil. We'll say it's a temporary blemish. So let him become fix himself and you have it. If it's Mum Kavua, he has no solution. So that's what he eats. But Mum Oiver, wait for him to heal. Chiddush he also eats over there. That's the idea of the healing. I mentioned on the Shom Machshava was saying that today.
What's considered a mum that he can't eat? Like how severe does that?
No, all mum you can eat. That's the thing. That's what you can. We think that you can eat. Chiddush is any mum you could eat. You can't do avodah, but you can eat. This we mentioned the Shom Machshava was saying that today. The idea that why a kohen Baalei Mumin can be oived, can do avodah, because the goof of the kohen is mitzvah la'avodah. It's an neshama and the goof together. They has to do the avodah. The neshama is reflected outside by the kohen, and if you have a mum, you're missing some reflection of the neshama outside.
It's a temporary one. Once it goes.
Also temporary, as we just learned now.
Once it's temporary, and go back.
Well, yeah, if you fix it. But during that time, you can't do it. But if regarding the achila is not outside. He's not using the goof. He's eating inside. So inside the neshama is intact inside. Says the Gemara called Shei Naroi. We said that a klal in the Mishnah. Anyone who's not able to do an avodah doesn't eat. Says the Gemara, it doesn't do chalukah. We just said Balmum does do chalukah. You want to tell me so could pass with the diuk? If you could do that avodah, he does do chalukah. Hare tomeh bekarbon tzibur. The roy la avodah ve'enu cholek. Tomeh bekarbon tzibur. He is roy la avodah. Why? Because too much of a tzibur. He doesn't get a piece of the meat. Says what it means, kol shor la avodah, not avodah. Avodah means eating. Anybody who can eat does a chalukah. That's a balmum, not a tomeh. Vari katon the word la achila ve'enu choylek. What about a child? Child is allowed to eat. He doesn't get a chalukah. So how look time? Meaning, don't do the diuk. What? This is really a klal al mishnayos. What do you say? Say a diuk. I said anybody who eats gets a piece. So you want to tell me mashma a katan who eats, you're also get a piece? No. All I'm telling you is it's the opposite. Anybody who does not eat does not get a piece. Not to do with diuk. Anybody who does eat does get a piece. I'm just telling you this thing itself. There's nobody who doesn't eat and gets a piece. There's no such thing. There are some people that eat but don't get a piece. So don't learn the diuk. Learn the thing itself. So you're not learning from the diuk. We talk about avodah. Anybody who does avodah eats. Anybody does not do avodah does not eat. What about tomeh? It doesn't do avodah. I'm not. What about tomeh? Sorry, tomeh does avodah. I'm not doing a diuk. I'm doing the thing itself. Anybody who does not do avodah doesn't eat. Some people who do avodah don't eat. Like a tomeh. What about balmum? Also, simple idea. They have a special example. So I'm saying in general, don't come and be medayek from here that you learn all the whole generic rule. Anybody who does not do avodah does not eat. In general, some exceptions to the rule. Some don't learn the diuk from the rule. Even though in the night it will come tahar, he still doesn't get chaluk if he was tummy. Says the Gemara, mashma Torah b'shas tzrikas domim v'tom b'shas chalovim choylek. What happens the opposite? When he did the avodah, he was tahar. He came to the night, he's tummy. It's choylek. This does not look like a bashol. Habashol says you have to be tar in the beginning and you have to be tar in the end. Tar when you do the avodah, tar when you do the aktar. What's this chaylev? Because it refers to that you do the aktar. Rabbanan have a different drasha from that words. According to Abashol, you have to be tar in the beginning. You have to be tar in the end. What happens if in the middle he's tummy? What will be the scenario? He did the avodah. He touched the sherets. Went to the mikvah. In the night he started again. So what happens then? You have to be tar in the beginning, the end, and he is. Says the Gemara, take away. Not sure. Now, listen to the following. Following is the following lines of the Gemara. Efshas, we'll see in the end of this Gemara. First of all, we start with something very, very modern. This following Gemara was said where? In the bathroom.
What?
Omar Haidina Merabloza B'Shimon Gamrina, the Omar B'Beis HaKiseh. He said in the bathroom. The Gemara is going to end by asking, how's he learning in the bathroom? We'll see in a moment. But Mimele, the one thing the Chur comes out of the Gemara, it's a very strange way the Gemara speaks, and a very strange lashon the Gemara is using. And after that's part, even though the Gemara is going to explain how he was thinking and learning, how he was speaking and learning in the bathroom, But it could be he did it in a strange way because it was the bathroom. So let's see what he said. Danto, in other words, let's do a din on your. What's a danto? Like Rashi says, Yachal Atalodon. Very interesting lashon. And listen to how it works. It's some savaris of kavachoimers in the sugi that we are. But Tvul Yoim V'Omar comes to Tvul Yoim, meaning that he went to the mikvah, but he still didn't become even. He's still tummy. He comes and says to a kohen, to his friend, "Tenli b'mi mincha v'oichol." So let me eat the mincha. Amar loi, whoa, you're not eating the mincha. Why? Umay b'makom sheyafe koichacho bechatoscha. What's yafe koichacho? A kohen who brings his own chatos does his own avodah. Meaning, nobody else can take that tzchus. He'll do everything for himself. Usually, when you bring karbonis, there is a beis av, there's a mishmar. You have to give it to the kohen, the mishmar. But when the kohen does it himself, it's his. He's the sole member. So he says like this: in your chatos, Mr. Kohen, you are powerful. But now that you're Tvul Yoim, I'm not going to let you take from Chatos of Yisrael. Right? As Rashi already brings the pasuk, it says, in other words, you can't do avodah, you can't take a piece. So Chatos, a regular Chatos, comes to Tvul Yoim and says, can I get a piece of Chatos? No, you're Tvul Yoim. So he says, give me mincha. 1 second. Chatos, that when it comes to a kohen, you're powerful, you can do your own chatos. When it comes to this case, to you Tvul Yoim by Yisrael, you won't take it. Makom shurak kachacho b'minchascho. By your mincha, can a kohen take his mincha? Answer is no. Why can a kohen take his own mincha? Because the mincha of a kohen goes fully on the mizbech. You don't divide, you don't split it.
The first mincha was in the beginning was not minchas kohen, it was minchas Yisrael.
Right. That's the next part of the Gemara. So therefore you won't get it. So what does the Gemara say? Right? The Kavachomer is a very strong lashon in the Gemara. But the Gemara is basically, the Kavachomer is a simple Kavachomer. Chatos, a kohen does his own, gets a piece. Mincha, he does his own, doesn't get a piece. Because no kohen gets a piece at all. But I'm saying, mincha, you get less than a chatos. Regular mincha, you get chatos. Now, by chatos, when you tell me, can you take a piece? No, Tvul Yoim doesn't take chatos. So, kosh can a mincha when you Tvul Yoim, you don't take a piece. Because mincha, you get less than chatos. That's kavachem. Says the Gemara, umay dechitani min chatos Yisrael. So, well, don't compare the two. Chatos Yisrael, you take it out, shekashem sheyafeh koichi, meaning, chatos, we're supposed to take a piece. You're supposed to take a piece? How to take a piece? When I'm talking, I don't take a piece. But by mincha, we both don't get a piece. I don't get a piece, and you don't get a piece, because mincha's kohen kol adiyah, who's kubli on the mizbech. So in other words, you can't bring me a kavachoyim for mincha. By mincha, nobody has shaykhs to it. Mincha the kohen. When you bring a chatos, you take a piece, you take your own piece. But when you're talking out, so mincha they don't take a piece. So of course you're talking out. So no. Because by mincha, the reason you don't take a piece is because nobody takes a piece. So don't be arrived from there. It was a finish pasuk. La kohen amakiv oiso loy tiyeh. It says only someone who does the akrava. Well, you can do akrava, you can eat. You can't do the akrava. That's shtickle number 1. Meaning it's a pasuk. Similarly, the Gemara is giving a few other shtickles like that. Kavachomer, with a push to the kavachomer, and then conclude with the pasuk. Tein li mechatas Yisrael doicha. Now it's the opposite. You say I can't eat from the chatas Yisrael. Why not? I want chatas Yisrael. So he tells them, meaning, says the friend, the kohen, in a regular mincha, mincha's kohen, I don't get a piece. Because mincha's kohen, kol tiyeh. Like I just taught you, you don't get a piece when you're tameh. When I do get a piece of my chatos, of course I push a chatos. Meaning the exact same thing we said before, just the opposite. Before we learned from chatos to mincha. Now we learn from mincha to chatos. So he's saying, by chatos, I don't have a piece, I still push you away. So by chatos, by chatos, I do a piece, of course I push you away. Omerlei, same tchio. Mayim shedichatan minchas Yisroel, shkashim shura koichacho, kachu ekoichi. Tedicheni minchatis Yisroel, shkash yafe koicha, kayafe koichi. Don't bring a rag from mincha to chatos. Because mincha, none of us gets a piece. Not you, not me. Chatos, we get pieces. So don't bring a rag from there. Harei Oimer says the Gemara pasuk. Hakoyin and mechato iso echleno. Only one who does the zrika can eat it. Boy chateh be'echol. If you can do zrika, do it. You can't do zrika because you're tummy. Omele another shtika. Tell me chazeh v'shoik v'oichel. Give me the chazeh v'shoik of korbanis. Give me the chazeh v'shoik. I'm supposed to get. Omele umar b'moku shevei koichacho b'chatoscho. In your chatos that you can bring on your own. The chesichum chatos Yisrael pushed you away from chatos Yisrael. Welcome shurak b'shlomim shelech habeim l'chazeh v'shoik b'shlomim. All you have is chazeh v'shoik, which is less than chatos. Chatos, you get more pieces of the meat. The kohen gets basically all the pieces of meat. By shlomim, he gets only chazeh v'shoik. So shlomim is less than chatos. Einu disha adicha cho if you're talking. Ma'in dechitani m'chatos k'nurak koichi etzel nosha ve'avodes. I'll tell the tchil. By chatos, yes. You know why you push me away? Because even when I'm tars, I can't give it to my wife and slaves. It's only me. By shlomim, there's a milo. I can give it to my wife and slaves. So you're telling me, shlom, how does the kavachayim work? Something is stronger than something else. Shlomim is stronger than chatos. Because by chatos, you get a lot of meat. I mean, shlom is more common than chatos. Shlom, I get only chaz v'shoik. So this one, but the flip side, shlom, I can give to my wife and slaves. Chatos, I can't. So it's not a good right. So how are you going to know? So it was a pasuk. One does the zriko, he gets the piece of the meat. Throw it and you get chaz v'shoik. So the tvul yoim who comes with a kal v'chomer, he goes out with his kal v'chomer on his head, meaning he couldn't use the kal v'chomer. Loinin on his right, chus kapar is on his left, chus kapar is someone's meaning to see a carbon. The same kal v'chomers. The same exact kal v'chomer that the tvul yoim has. Well, if I get a piece of chatos, so maybe I'll be able to get a piece of the mincha, the same kal v'chomers, with the same answers. They all live in the same psukim, and basically come out, they live in the psukim, he doesn't get any piece. Says, okay, so you gave me mincha, you gave me chatos, you gave me shlomim. We're missing something. What are you missing? Why do you come and say, in the same logic, I want to get a piece of the bechor? Why? Says his friend, by chatos, I can't give food to my wife and slaves. I pushed you away from chatos Yisrael, and meaning you cannot do it when you're tummy. My bechor, everything is mine. What does mean everything is mine? So as Rishay explained over here, not only that I can give it to anybody I want, who gets a bechor? Which kohen? A specific kohen. Comes to Yisrael, gives a bechor to his friend. It is not split around all the mishmar. When you bring a shlomi, everybody, all the kohanim split it. Bechor is only me. So he says, by shlomi I'm not so strong. And sorry, by chatos I'm not so strong, and I pushed you away. By bechor I'm so strong, of course I push you away. So by chatos, we both can give it to our wives and children. Similar logic. You want to tell me, well, chatos, you're not so strong, you push me away. Bechor is so strong, you can't push me away. Yeah, but I'm the same thing like you. By chatos, I'm not so strong, and by bechor, I am strong. What are you going to say against that? You have to bring a pasuk. What's a pasuk? Ve'eschalbum taktir, or b'soim yelach. It says in the pasuk, you throw the blood, you put the chaylev, and you get meat. The same pasuk, the same drasha. You want to do that avodah, you'll get the meat. Why do you say that up here? So the Gemara v'idach parich, he has a pirch of this. Michtiv u'b'sorim la'koyin ha'zoyrek, u'b'sorim yelacha k'si afilu koyin acher. It's not a good drasha, this pasuk. And this pasuk doesn't say that the one who does this rika doesn't say u'b'sorim yeloi, the one who does this rika. It says u'b'sorim yelecha, meaning it could be one does this rika, one gets the akila. That's why they want to bring this pasuk to the mix. Because the first three psukim that we brought were all very similar. Whoever does the avodah gets meat. That's a chalukah. You can't do the avodah because you're tameh. You can't get meat. But I don't have the same drush in the pasuk, so that's why I didn't put it over here. So that's why this pasuk is not a good raya, so we have to learn from somewhere else. It says the Gemara concludes, how did you learn in the bathroom? How are you not allowed to think of learning in Beis Menachos Beis Yeshiva? Says the Gemara, le'ointzoi shani. So oinis. Says Rashi, shaisa shmuos shgur b'fiv. It's always the Torah. U'mehari b'al koichor. But the Gemara shows the kedusha. He can't stop learning. So even in the bathroom, he can't stop learning. It comes out halacha l'maaseh. Person in the bathroom can't stop learning. He learns. And this is the get a little bit to tonight. Why is it tonight? Because tonight is learning nittel. Nittel nacht. Minig Yisrael brought down already Chasam Sofer speaks about it too. Not to learn and learn nittel. But we at least aspire to be shmuos shgur b'fiv. If you can learn in the bathroom when you have shmuos shgur b'fiv, you can learn a shirim too. Once we have a shir kavua, you can't stop in the middle. So the same way that even the bathroom, a person who can't stop. So we have a kavua shir. You continue learning even if you have them.
He was not born.